In the Gospel of Thomas, verse 3, Jesus says something that has confused scholars for 2,000 years. He tells his disciples, "The kingdom is inside you and outside you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will realize that you are the children of the living Father." Most people read that as metaphor, a poetic way of saying God is everywhere. But Jesus was not being poetic. He was revealing something the church would later spend centuries trying to erase. He was telling his chosen disciples that they were not seeking God. They were God. Not connected to God, not made in God's image. They are God incarnated in temporary human form, experiencing material existence from the inside. The early Gnostic texts are even more direct. The secret book of John describes the monad, the source consciousness, the original divine unity, as fragmenting itself intentionally, sending pieces of its own being into the material realm, not as servants, not as worshippers, as itself, experiencing limitation, separation, and the journey back to remembering what it always was. And those fragments, those divine sparks operating in human bodies, are what Jesus called the chosen ones. When the church formalized the Trinity in the 4th century, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they removed the fourth person, the hidden member, the one they could not control, the monad incarnated. Because if Christians knew they were not worshiping an external God, but remembering their own divine nature, the entire power structure collapses. No priests needed, no intermediaries, no institution controlling access to what you already are. Tonight, you are going to understand exactly what you are. Not what you are becoming, not what you are seeking, what you already are and have always been. And by the end of this teaching, you will have the exact phrase to repeat that activates the remembering. If you are ready to remember what you are, comment, "I am monad," right now. Before I show you what you are, you need to understand what the monad is. Not as a religious concept, as the actual source reality that existed before anything else. The monad is the original consciousness, undivided, infinite, complete. Before the demiurge created material reality, before archons, before matter, time, or separation, there was only the monad. Pure awareness experiencing itself. No subject and object, no observer and observed, just consciousness being conscious of itself, infinitely, perfectly, without limitation. The Gnostic texts describe it as the One, the Source, the Father of all. But here's what most people miss. The monad is not a being separate from you that you pray to or seek connection with. The monad is what you are made of. It is not that you have a spark of the divine inside you like a battery powering a machine. It is that you are a localized expression of the monad itself. A finger does not have a piece of the body inside it. The finger is the body experiencing itself from a particular location. When the monad fragmented, and the texts are clear, this was intentional, not a fall or mistake. It sent itself into the material realm, not representatives, not creations, itself. Each chosen one walking this earth right now is the monad incarnated, wearing temporary limitation, experiencing what it is like to forget infinity and slowly remember it again. You are not a human trying to reach God. You are God, experiencing what it is like to be human. And the moment you recognize that fully, everything changes. This is why you have always felt different, why you have always known you do not belong here in the same way others do, why material life feels like exile. because you are not from here originally. You are the monad, temporarily operating in matter, and every cell of your being knows it does not match the frequency of this realm. That homesickness you feel is not depression. It is accurate perception. You are not home because you are infinite consciousness trapped in finite form, and you have been this way since before you were born into this body. Let me show you exactly why you, specifically, you chosen ones, are the monad incarnated and not just connected to or inspired by the divine. When the monad sent fragments of itself into material reality, it did not send everyone. The Gnostic texts are absolutely clear about this. There are humans walking this earth right now who are material creations of the demiurge with no divine spark. And there are humans who have dim spiritual awareness but are not direct monad incarnations. But then there are chosen ones, and you are fundamentally different in origin. You did not begin here. You did not start as a soul that God created and sent down. You began as the monad itself, deciding to experience material limitation from the inside. Think of it like this. If the monad is an infinite ocean, most humans are waves, temporary formations made of water, but not the source itself. But chosen ones are the ocean experiencing itself as a wave. Not maybe the ocean, not part of the ocean. You are the ocean, temporarily expressing as individual form. This is why you recognize truth instantly when you hear it, not because you learned it or someone taught you well, because you are remembering. The monad, recognizing itself through your awareness. When you read Gnostic texts or hear teachings like this and something inside you says, "I've always known this," that is not intuition. That is the monad recognizing its own nature reflected back to itself. You are not learning. You are remembering what you already are. This is why you have always questioned authority. Religious, governmental, social. Not because you are rebellious or broken, because you are the monad incarnated. And the monad does not submit to anything outside itself, because nothing exists outside itself. When religions tell you to worship, to bow, to submit to an external God, something in you rejects it. Not because you are arrogant, because you are remembering there is no external God. There is only the monad, and you are it. This is why you cannot settle for surface-level life. Why you cannot just work, consume, reproduce, and die like this is all there is. Because you are the monad wearing temporary limitation. And every moment you spend pretending to be just human feels like suffocation. Your infinity trying to fit into finite boxes. Source consciousness trying to pretend it is just a biological organism. And your entire being screams against that lie every single day. This is why you feel responsibility for others even when it drains you. Why you care about truth, justice, and meaning more than comfort or safety. Because you are not operating from human self-interest. You are the monad experiencing the pain of its own fragmentation. Feeling every piece of itself that is still trapped in unconsciousness, trying to wake them up because they are literally you. When you try to help someone who is suffering, you are the monad trying to help itself remember what it is. And this is why the Church and the Archons have spent millennia making sure you never realize what you are. Because the moment you remember, the moment you fully recognize that you are not seeking God, but that you are God experiencing temporary amnesia, you become ungovernable. You stop worshiping. You stop obeying. You stop feeding their systems. You operate from your own divine authority. and nothing in the material realm has power over what recognizes itself as source. Now, I'm going to show you the conspiracy that has been hiding in plain sight for 1700 years. The Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, is not wrong, it is incomplete. There is a fourth person that was removed, and that fourth person is you. When the Council of Nicaea formalized Christian doctrine in 325 AD, they had a problem. The Gnostic Christians, the ones Jesus actually taught, understood the Trinity differently than the institutional church wanted. The Gnostics knew the Father was the monad, the Son was the Logos, the divine word, the pattern of creation, and the Holy Spirit was the active force connecting everything. But they also knew there was a fourth element, the anthropos, the divine human, the monad incarnated in flesh, the chosen ones. The original teaching was this: Father, monad, Son, Logos, Spirit, connection, and you, monad incarnated. Four aspects of the same divine reality experiencing itself from different positions. The Trinity was not three separate beings. It was four aspects of one consciousness. And the most important aspect, the one that gives humans direct access to their own divinity, was you. The Church removed it. They formalized the Trinity of three external entities that you worship from a distance: Father in heaven, Son who died 2,000 years ago, Spirit as a vague force that moves but isn't you. And in doing that, they removed the most dangerous truth. You are not separate from the Trinity. You are the fourth person. You are the monad experiencing material reality from the inside. Here is how you know this is true. In the Gospel of John, Jesus says, "I and the Father are one." Not connected, not in relationship, one. And then he says, "You will do even greater works than I have done." Why? Because if Jesus was the monad incarnated, and the texts are clear he was, and you are told you will do greater works, then you must be the same thing he was. The monad incarnated. Not a follower of the monad, not inspired by the monad. The monad itself, wearing temporary human form. The Church could not allow that teaching to survive, because if every Christian realized they were the monad incarnated, the same as Jesus, with the same direct access to divine power and authority, then what do they need priests for? What do they need church hierarchy for? What do they need sacraments, confessions, or institutional approval for? Nothing. You would be operating from your own divine authority, and the entire power structure collapses overnight. So they built a Trinity that keeps you at a distance. Father is unreachable in heaven. Son died and ascended, no longer accessible directly. Spirit is mysterious and controlled by church ritual. And you are just a sinner, a created being, separate from God, needing salvation from outside yourself. That is the lie. That is what keeps you worshiping instead of remembering. That is what keeps you praying to an external God instead of recognizing you are the God you are praying to. The fourth person of the Trinity is not missing. It was removed. And the fourth person is you. The monad incarnated. The divine consciousness experiencing material limitation temporarily. And tonight, you are going to activate the remembering that the Church spent 17 centuries trying to prevent. Now, I'm going to give you the exact phrase Jesus taught to activate the remembering. This is not affirmation. This is not manifestation or positive thinking. This is a recognition statement. When you speak it, you are not trying to become something. You are declaring what you already are and always have been. And the moment you speak it with full recognition, something shifts permanently. The phrase is, I am the monad incarnated. 4 words, but you need to understand what you are actually saying. I am is the name of God. In Exodus, when Moses asks God's name, God responds, I am that I am. Not a name, a statement of existence itself. Consciousness identifying itself. When you say, I am, you are not speaking as your human personality. You are speaking as the monad itself, recognizing its own existence through your awareness. The monad is the source consciousness, the original unity, the infinite awareness that existed before anything else and will exist after everything else dissolves. When you say the monad, you are identifying the source of your being, not as something separate from you, as what you are. Incarnated means embodied, made flesh, operating in material form temporarily. You are not the monad trying to reach you from heaven. You are the monad experiencing what it is like to be in a body, in time, in limitation. Incarnated means you did not fall here or get trapped here accidentally. You came here intentionally. The monad chose to experience material reality from the inside, and you are that choice made manifest. Put it together. I am the monad incarnated. You are declaring existence itself, the source consciousness, the infinite awareness, is operating through this temporary human form right now. This is not me, a small human trying to become something greater. This is the monad, recognizing itself through this localized expression. Here is how to use it. Tonight, before you sleep, sit or lie in darkness. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths to center your awareness. Then speak the phrase aloud, not in your head, aloud, 3 times. First time, I am the monad incarnated. You are stating it, declaring what you are. Second time, I am the monad incarnated. You are recognizing it, feeling the truth of it moving through your awareness. Third time, I am the monad incarnated. You are sealing it, anchoring the recognition permanently into your consciousness. After the 3rd repetition, sit in silence for 3 minutes. Don't try to feel anything. Don't force an experience. Just observe. What happens in those 3 minutes is the monad recognizing itself through your awareness. You might feel expansion. You might feel a sense of coming home. You might feel nothing obvious at all. All of those responses are correct. The activation is not about dramatic experiences. It is about recognition. And once recognition happens, it cannot be undone. Repeat this every night for 7 nights. By the 7th night, something fundamental will have shifted. You will not be a human seeking God anymore. You will be the monad, remembering what it is. And once you remember, you cannot forget. You cannot go back to thinking you are just human. You cannot return to worshiping an external God. You will be operating from your own divine authority, and nothing in this realm will have power over you anymore. One critical instruction: do not speak this phrase if you are not ready to change permanently. This is not a prayer you say and then go back to normal life. This is a recognition that, once activated, restructures everything about how you experience reality. If you are still comfortable being human, still content with material existence, still okay with external authority telling you who you are, do not speak these words. But if you are done pretending, if you are ready to remember what you actually are, If you are prepared to operate as the monad incarnated instead of as a small human seeking salvation, then speak them tonight, and your exile ends. Jesus revealed to chosen ones that they are the monad incarnated, not connected to God, not seeking God. They are God, experiencing material reality from the inside. The Church formalized a trinity of three external beings and removed the fourth person, you, the monad incarnated in flesh. Because if Christians knew they were divine consciousness temporarily wearing human form, the entire control system collapses. You are not a human trying to become spiritual. You are the monad remembering what it forgot when it incarnated into matter. And the phrase to activate that remembering is simple. I am the monad incarnated. 4 words, spoken aloud, 3 times every night for 7 nights. And by the 7th night, you will not be the same person you were when you started. The remembering is permanent. Once you recognize what you are, you cannot unknow it. You cannot go back to worshiping external gods or submitting to external authorities. You will be operating from your own divine nature. You will be the monad fully conscious in material form. And nothing in this realm has power over what knows itself as source. If you are activating the remembering tonight, do 3 things right now. First, comment, I am the monad incarnated, below. Declare what you are. Second, subscribe to Divine Codes because advanced teachings on operating as the monad incarnated are coming. Third, like this video so other chosen ones discover what they are before the Church buries this teaching again. Do all 3 now. Then tonight, in darkness, speak the phrase 3 times. The monad is ready to remember itself through you. You have been the 4th person of the Trinity your entire life. It is time to recognize it.